What if you asked your significant other, how would you have handled yourself in the Chris Rock, Will Smith situation? Let's have a soulful conversation about what you should know about defending your significant other. What's up, family? Frank Battle here, and this is Soulful Conversations with Frank and Sheila, your safe place for conversations about relationships. If you are new here and just happen to stop by, welcome. And thank you for hitting that play button. And also, if you will, hit that subscribe button and ding the notification bell so that you don't miss any future conversations. So let's jump into today's conversation. I am sure by now, all of you have heard or seen the Will Smith Chris Rock incident. Well, while I agree with Will's heart, I strongly disagree with his actions. I strongly disagree. You know, I was watching the Oscars as it was unfolding, and I was shocked. I initially thought it was a joke, but then seeing Will's response, all I could feel was hurt. And I said to myself, this is actually happening. You know, at this realization, I knew that I needed to disconnect from social media. I knew it was going to be crazy. You know, still shocked some days later and kind of just thinking about it. You know, the question came to my mind regarding how to handle a situation where you need to stand up or defend your significant other. That question came to my mind. You know, there are many that think the idea of standing up for a significant other in a relationship is archaic, especially when it relates to women. They think the notion of a man desiring to protect his woman means she's weak or powerless and that the man thinks he's superior. Conversely, there are women that feel like, I don't need anybody to protect me. Standing up for your significant other is not one responsibility for a particular gender or a particular person. You know, our conversation today, this conversation, family, it isn't about dominance or an archaic notion of chivalry. I'm not trying to deem anyone weak or helpless, needing protection, or needing a savior to come in and rescue them. This conversation is about having a relationship where you know that your significant other will be there and stand by you when it matters. I believe that significant others in a relationship need to feel secure. This need comes from Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You know, the need for safety, security, and stability. You know, in a meaningful relationship, there's a connection and an energy that arises between two people, especially when they're in love. That holistic feeling brings a bond in a relationship and that bond is a kind of love that's referenced in 1 Corinthians 13. That's the love that always protects, family. You know, I've lived a few years, got a few gray hairs, as my former pastor used to say, and I've grown to understand that protecting your significant other is more than just physical strength or being strong or having a mindset of, you know, I'll take a bullet for my significant other. You know, when it comes to protecting a significant other, you got to check your ego. Controlling yourself and controlling your temper is a better way to handle that. Better than being a hero. Just because you feel something needs to be done or said in the moment doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be said or done. If you allow your ego and emotional instability to take over, you can run into a situation and cause damage or destroy your relationship. You can hurt your image. You can hurt your significant other and your family. Family, righteous indignation is very powerful emotion. You know, it can empower us to run toward righting a wrong. But if it's not channeled correctly, it can cause damage. It can cause you to speed past logic and clarity. And you run into a situation not thinking about the responsibility for your actions. In other words, that you speak, you know, you have to ask yourself, is it important for me to be the defender or to be right now? You know, we have to be mindful of those things. And it comes back to my mind about love being patient, kind, and not self-seeking. You know, ego will let you be self-seeking. As a man, I believe we're wired to jump into situations and as in a protective mode, especially for the people that we're connected to and that we love. Quick story. I grew up in a house with my mom and my grandmother. And growing up, they always told me that I was the man of the house. Now, that declaration did not come with an instruction manual. One night, I remember, mom and I were in the house and we heard this commotion in the front yard. I went to the door and I peeped out and I saw my sister. She's getting jumped by two females. Apparently they had followed her and her date home, and when she got out the car, they got out and they both jumped her. Upon seeing this, I'm standing in the door with my PJs. I jumped off the porch, I jumped the hedges, and I jumped between breaking them up, and her date grabs one of the young ladies, I grabbed the other, and I covered my sister, and I told her, you might want to leave before the police get here. I knew my mom was going to call the police. When it comes to our more intimate relationships like that, even in those situations, we have to be mindful, and it's important that we set boundaries. I never went into that situation thinking of striking or hitting, those sisters, even with all the emotional rush at that time. We have to set those boundaries, especially in a public setting. I remember one time when, after I relocated to where we live now, Sheila and I were at a space where we would gather for the weekend. I'm the new kid on the block, and at this particular gathering, Sheila, then my girlfriend, was greeted by someone well known in the community. And this greeting occurred in the form of an inappropriate hug. The hand placement, family, ooh, the disrespect. When I saw this, I approached, I removed their hands, and they let go of Sheila, and then I stepped up and I said in a normal voice, do not hug my girl like that again. The person laughed. They laughed, and I moved in close to the ear and I said, do not hug my girl again. At this point, Sheila couldn't see my face. She could only see the Joker's grimace on the person's face that's, facing her. And once she saw that, she realized it was a serious situation, and she lovingly touched my arm, and then she squeezed my hand. And as she's squeezing my hand, she couldn't hear the conversation going on between me and this individual, and she wasn't aware that I was being threatened. The person told me that they had the power to make my relocation uncomfortable. I was told to watch my back. After hearing this, I was like, all right, do what you gotta do, bro. And that's how that went down. And thankfully it was an idle threat. Nothing really came from it. But I want to be clear to say my actions were not based on ego or insecurity or any type of archaic approach that I mentioned earlier. It was about respect. I was informed that this individual had a habit of testing women and doing all kind of antics. And my intention wasn't to make a scene or draw attention to the situation, only to convey that my girl would not be subjected to their foolishness. I didn't approach that situation to promote violence. I just wanted to get my point across. My wife knows me and she knows my heart. If she thought that, that situation was going to go left, I would have got more than just a little hand squeeze. She has this thing that she does now where she'll give me a gentle touch, or she'll look at me and she'll say, boo. She knows me and understands my challenges as well as I know hers. Because of that, we are careful to protect each other emotionally. I read this article. It was called "Do You Protect and Defend and Honor Your Spouse?" And in the article, it talks about no matter who it is, we shouldn't allow anyone to speak negative to or about our spouse, even if it happens in our family. That we have to show respect and not allow that to be tolerated. And the article also talked about how we should combat that negativity with positivity so that we can establish that security in a relationship, even for family and friends. One of the greatest things that being in a relationship has is the security that you have someone that has your back. And when that doesn't happen, it can be detrimental to a relationship. Unfortunately, I've seen that. In life, what's crazy about it is, there are things that we value, we protect. Most of us would agree that it would be risky or ill-advised not to have auto, home, or life insurance. We don't think twice about protecting those things. But protection is also needed in a relationship. That is why I recommend that significant others come into a relationship seeking clarity about what that means, what that looks like, and have a conversation about it. If you're serious about your relationship, I would recommend you make time for you and your significant other to have that conversation. I believe, given the situation that we just witnessed, that it's an important topic to have, to ask that question. How would you want me to stand up for you? Or how would you have handled yourself in the Smith Rock situation? During this conversation, express exactly what the needs and how that would look. At the end of the day, it comes down to a two-way street of standing up and having respect for one another. For those of us who are married as men, we have a special place in our wives' heart when they feel honored. When a man doesn't stand up for his wife to honor her, it's very detrimental. Call me old school, but I believe that standing up for your wife and protecting her from attacks is a duty of a husband. You're a team. You got to stand up for even setting boundaries with the family. All that's important. People must know that there is a line that you cannot cross with this person, with this rib, with my love in the relationship and the marriage. I hope that something I've said in this video has helped you all, family. Please comment below. Let me know what you think. There's 2 videos that on our channel I recommend that you look at about a serious relationship and a relationship check-in. I appreciate your time, and on this channel, Sheila and I, we want to encourage relationships. We call ourselves relationship champions. We ask that you share this with your friend circle. I'm Frank from Soulful Conversation, and I look forward to talking to you in the next video. Peace, family. Be well.